Hello, today's lesson is a quick refresher on how to solve for a variable. You're very adept at solving for a variable when there are numbers involved, but what happens when you get a formula and you need to solve for a variable and all you're given is variables? I've seen a lot of people get spooked by this. No need for that to happen. You're going to work with it just like you would numbers. So we're going to start with something very simple. The formula for circumference of a circle, c equals 2 pi r. We're going to solve it for r. Now, you could just go through and plug in these numbers that it's given you right here and solve it algebraically, but we really want to work with solving for a specific variable. The main reason you need to know how to do this is when it comes to graphing, everything needs to be in the form of y equals to graph, so you're going to spend a lot of time solving for y. So these are those baby foundation steps. So we start with our basic equation. Now, we want to get the r isolated because that's what we do with x when we begin to solve. We isolate it. So we are multiplying this r by 2 pi. So to undo the multiplication, you divide. So we divide both sides by 2 pi, and that's what we've done right here. 2 pi divided by 2 pi becomes 1. We just get r from this. So I just flipped it to put it in the more standard way. So r equals c over 2 pi. That's all there is to it. Unfortunately, life is not neat mathematically. You're not always limited to 1 or 2 variables. Let's do a really standard problem with 3 variables just so you can see there's nothing to worry about. We're going to go with our good old formula for perimeter. P equals 2L plus 2W. I want to solve it for W. We begin just like we did last time. You want to isolate. This stylus is not working well. Isolate the W. Okay? So if you look back at our equation, we have 2W plus 2L. Well, let's write this over here so we can work with it. We want to undo. Well, we're adding 2L to do W, so we want to subtract 2L from both sides. And that's going to give me P minus 2L equals 2W. Now, if we're solving for W, we're multiplying W by 2, undo that. Undoing in this case is division. So we're left with P minus 2L divided by 2 equals W. There you go. You've just solved it for width. Now, what if we wanted to solve it for length? It doesn't specifically say that, but let's go ahead and solve for L, just for practice. Same thing. You want to isolate your variable. So in this case, we want to get the 2L by itself. So we're going to undo what we're adding to it. Algebra is about doing and undoing. So P minus 2W equals 2L. Multiplying L by 2, the opposite of multiplying is dividing. So this gives us, I'm going to jump right over here, P minus 2W over 2 equals L. And there you go, formula for length. All right, let's practice. A lot of what you will be doing in this class is solving for x and y. So let's begin this problem by solving for x. That means we want to isolate the x. To do that, we are going to have to undo subtracting 4y, which would be the same thing as adding it. That gives us 9x equals 7 plus 4y. We can't add this 7 and this 4y because they are not like terms. To be a like term, they need the same base and the same exponent. So these two terms are just going to stay right like that. I know it's tempting to want to add them up, but we can't do that. Now, we're multiplying x by 9 Opposite of that is division. X equals 7/9 plus 4y over 9. Now, could you write this as one fraction? Of course you can. A lot of different ways to write this. You could write 4y plus 7 over 9, and that would be equally as good. All right, this is a little closer to what we're going to be doing this year. I want you to solve this problem for y. So we're moving into our comfort zone now, or what we really need to know how to do. First thing I want you to notice, there are two y's up here. We can't add these up. They are not like terms. So what else can you do? Well, if you look here and here, there is a y in both of these terms. It's common. We can pull that y out or divide both of these by y. Think about it like undistributing. You know what it means to distribute. We're going to do the opposite. So if I take a y out or divide, 2y divided by y leaves 2, and xy divided by y leaves x. Now notice if I multiply this, I'm going to get what we had right there. I've just rewritten it in a form that we can use. Now I have two terms that are multiplied together. I want to solve for y. I'm multiplying y times 2 plus x. So what I can do is divide by this whole chunk that we're multiplying it by. But if I do it to one side, I need to do it to the other side to maintain equality. 2 plus x over 2 plus x equals 1. Y times 1 is y. This number doesn't just disappear using math magic. It becomes a 1, which is understood. So y equals 6 over 2 plus x. There you go.